Hi, I'm Walter, 32, and when I was 17 my entire life was nuked because my cousin Ashley staged the world's most destructive lie to cover up sneaking out with some senior boy. My family didn't just believe her, they exiled me like I was some medieval plague carrier. 13 years later, after I'd built my business from literal nothing, she resurfaced to shake me down for 50 grand, claiming I owed her for not ruining me completely. She should have walked away. Instead, she poked a man who had nothing left to lose and 13 years' worth of receipts. Let me take you back to the night everything collapsed. It was November 2010. I was 17, greasy with brake dust, coming home just before midnight after finishing a shift at the auto body shop. I was exhausted, starving, and just wanted to play Call of Duty until my brain melted. My family lived in a quiet Phoenix suburb, the kind where neighbors get angry if your grass grows 1 inch too high. Ashley lived 3 houses down. 15 years old. Varsity volleyball. Straight A's. The kind of girl adults adored and other teenagers secretly hated because everything always broke her way. She was the golden child. I was the kid who fixed old cars for $8 an hour and wore the same 3 hoodies all year. That night, my window rattled with the sound of shouting, her parents screaming like someone had set the house on fire. I cranked up my game volume and ignored it. Not my monkey. Not my circus. I wish I'd stayed asleep. 30 minutes later, my mom barged into my room without knocking, eyes wide with panic and anger, like she'd already decided I was guilty of something without knowing what. "Get downstairs," she said. No explanation. No chance to ask why. 4 faces waited for me in the living room. My aunt. My uncle. My parents. And Ashley in the middle like the trembling, mascara-streaked star of a teenage Lifetime movie. My uncle's voice was ice. "Tell him." Ashley looked at me with those big watery eyes. Oscar-worthy. I didn't want to say anything. She whispered. I was scared. My stomach dropped. For good reason. She spun a story so wild it should have come with a disclaimer, that I'd been texting her for months saying sexual things, threatening to expose her if she didn't meet me. She claimed she ditched school that day because she didn't know what else to do. The room started spinning, one of those awful, slow-motion spins where your brain screams that this isn't real, this can't be happening, but every adult in the room is already looking at you like the sentence is passed. That's a lie, I said. I've never texted her. I don't even have her number. She showed us the messages. My aunt said. Your number. Your name. Everything. Fake. 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 I said it 100 different ways. Didn't matter. My uncle got in my face. She is your cousin. She is 15. What the hell is wrong with you? I backed up. I didn't do anything. My dad didn't shout. Didn't curse. He just held out his hand. Give me your phone. I gave it to him because I had nothing to hide. He scrolled through every message I'd ever sent, as if the truth was in there somewhere. Ashley piped up in this tiny, shaky voice. He probably deleted them. And just like that, snap, my life was over. My mom cried like her heart had been torn out. Not for me. For Ashley. My dad threw my phone back at me with a disgusted grunt. 30 minutes. Pack your things. You are not sleeping under this roof. 30 minutes. 17 years of my life shoved into trash bags and a backpack. Childhood photos. Gone. Family. Gone. Security. Gone. I slept in my Civic in a Walmart parking lot that night, shivering under a hoodie and the weight of a lie I couldn't outrun. And I didn't know it then, but the next 13 years would turn that lie into a ghost that followed me everywhere: schools, jobs, friendships, relationships, silently poisoning everything because I never knew who would believe me, or who'd hear her version first. But the truth waited. It's patient like that. And when Ashley came back after all those years, thinking she still had the power to ruin me, that was the moment I stopped being powerless. and started becoming nuclear. Getting kicked out at 17 isn't dramatic the way movies make it look. There's no rainstorm, no symbolic lightning strike, no soaring violin track. It's just you, a cold car, a half-dead phone, and the realization that the people who raised you now look at you like a rabid dog. I woke up the next morning in that Walmart parking lot with a stiff neck, a pounding headache, and a text from my dad that said, "You're cut off. Don't come home. No health insurance. No college fund. No family." Just a 17-year-old kid who supposedly deserved none of it. By Monday, the rumor mill had reached full burn. My boss at the auto shop didn't fire me, he just quietly stopped putting me on the schedule. My girlfriend, Emma, blocked my number. Friends who'd known me since kindergarten suddenly needed to focus on themselves. Even strangers stared at me like I was radioactive. Small towns don't do investigations. They do conclusions. One night at the gym, someone keyed PRV into my car door. Deep. Deliberate. And everyone in the parking lot suddenly gained collective amnesia. That was my breaking point. I grabbed my cash, $400 total, filled up my tank, and just drove. No destination. No plan. Just the need to get as far from Arizona gossip as my Civic could take me. I slept in truck stops and rest areas. Ate off dollar menus. Showered at a 24-hour gym using a $10 membership. It was the kind of exhaustion you feel in your bones, not just tired but hollow. I eventually drifted into Austin. Big city, lots of noise, lots of strangers, perfect camouflage. Nobody looked at me twice. Nobody crossed the street when they saw me. Nobody recognized my last name. For the first time in months, I could breathe. I picked up day labor through Craigslist. Moving furniture. Hauling dirt. Demolition cleanup. Anything that paid cash. It was brutal work, but it kept me fed. At 18, I got my GED. Not because I had dreams or anything poetic, because being a dropout with no family support was the express lane to dying broke. Then something shifted. I fixed an old Xbox I found cheap. Replaced one part for $5. Sold it for $80. That was the first spark. The first tiny seed of, maybe I'm not doomed. I started hitting pawn shops, thrift stores, garage sales, buying broken laptops, cracked phones, busted consoles. I'd repair them at night in the room I rented from 4 other dudes who smoked inside and ate spaghetti straight from the pot. It was chaotic. Loud. Messy. But it was mine. And little by little, dollar by dollar, my life started growing roots again. By 2013, I had my own studio apartment. A piece of dignity. A door I could lock. A place where nobody could drag me out again. By 2015, I registered an LLC. Torres Electronics Repair and Resale. First warehouse. First employee. A kid named Liam who had no idea his boss was a former runaway with a haunted past. By 2018, I had 6 employees. Steady contracts. A life. Not perfect. Not peaceful. But mine. Dating was difficult. I kept everyone at arm's length. I didn't trust easily. I couldn't. The fear lived under my skin. If one lie could destroy my entire teenage life, what would another do? Then Hazel arrived. Bold, funny, smart, and the only woman who ever asked me out. We fit together effortlessly. She didn't pry when I said I didn't talk to my family. She didn't ask why I flinched at certain questions. She loved the man I'd become, because she didn't know the ghost I used to be. We moved in after 6 months. Got engaged after a year. I bought a house. A real one. Not a room. Not a mattress on the floor. I had a business. A life. Stability. I thought I had outrun my past. But ghosts don't stay buried. And mine had Ashley's voice. One afternoon, while I was in my garage fixing a laptop, my phone rang, unknown number. I should have ignored it. Should have thrown the phone across the room. Instead, I picked up. Hello, Walter, the voice said. Older now, but unmistakable. Ashley. The girl who ruined my life at 15. The woman who was about to try again. Ashley's voice hit me like a punch. Not the sound itself, just the memory of it. The last time I heard her speak, she'd been crying fake tears while my entire family condemned me to homelessness. Now she sounded irritated. Like calling me was an inconvenience for her. I've been trying to find you for years, she said. Your business records finally pointed me in the right direction. My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. What do you want? I need help, she said, instantly shifting into her favorite role, professional victim. I have 2 kids, both their dads are trash. I'm working part-time, rent is insane, daycare is impossible. Get to the point. She inhaled sharply. I need $50,000. Just to catch up on bills. Maybe get a better apartment. Start fresh. I laughed. Loud. Ugly. Painful. You're out of your mind. I thought you'd say that. Her voice sharpened like a knife. That's why I'm calling with a reminder. A reminder of what? That you owe me. I felt something inside me twist. Owe you? For not ruining you completely, she said, her tone suddenly venomous. You should be grateful I stayed quiet. You should be grateful I never pushed for charges. You think your precious fiancée Hazel knows who you really are? Ice flooded my veins. You wouldn't, I said. Try me. I still have those screenshots, the ones you sent me, remember? All those sexual texts? You know, the ones from when you were harassing a 15-year-old girl? My stomach flipped, and not from guilt, from rage. I never sent those messages. You keep saying that, she said lightly. But Hazel won't know. Your business partners won't know. Anyone you work with won't know. She let the silence stretch before dropping the bomb. I'll send everything to Hazel if you don't pay me. 50,000. End of the month. Then she hung up. 30 minutes later, my nightmare became real. Hazel came home early, her face pale, jaw clenched, hands shaking. She held up her phone like it was a weapon. Some woman named Ashley just sent me screenshots, she said. Screenshots of you sexually harassing your 15-year-old cousin. My heart dropped into my shoes. Hayes, it's fake. All of it. She made it up. She's trying to blackmail me. Oh, let me guess, Hazel said coldly. She's lying, you're innocent, and I'm supposed to just trust you. Yes, I said. Because I'm telling you the truth. She said you'd say that, Hazel whispered. She told me you've been hiding this from everyone for years. That's because it never happened. Hazel shook her head. You never told me anything about your family. You never mentioned being kicked out at 17. You flinch when people ask where you grew up. You act like you're running from something. I was running, I said. Because they all believed her. Hazel, please. Her voice cracked. I can't marry someone capable of that, Walter. I felt something in me snap. Hazel. If you walk out that door because of a lie, we're done. She swallowed hard. We already are. She took off her engagement ring, set it on my workbench, and walked out. Just like that, she became the second person to exile me based on Ashley's fiction. I stood there after she left, older now, stronger now, but feeling exactly like my 17-year-old self. Except this time I didn't collapse. I didn't drive away. I didn't start over in another city. I went the opposite direction. I went nuclear. I spent that night gathering every piece of digital history I had, bank records, work logs, timestamps, anything from 2010 that could prove where I was and what I was doing. Then I did something I should have done years ago. I investigated Ashley. Her social media was a museum of bad decisions, kids with 2 different dads, eviction notices, passive-aggressive posts about how the world owed her something, constant pity-seeking manipulation. And buried underneath? Patterns. Contradictions. Lies. She'd been faking things for years. I wasn't just dealing with a liar, I was dealing with a serial liar. And I wasn't going to just clear my name. I was going to end hers. And the first step was proving those screenshots were fake. Enter Liam, my computer wizard employee. Within 72 hours, he confirmed. Wrong timestamp format for 2010. Wrong battery icon for that iOS version. Wrong font style. Contact formatting inconsistent with real phone data. Editing artifacts everywhere. Dude, these are so fake it's embarrassing, he said. You could take this evidence to court. Perfect. Because I wasn't going to fight her privately. I was going to annihilate her publicly. But first, I needed something more powerful than digital forensics. I needed her to confess. On record. In her own voice. And she would. Because she thought she'd won. Most people think revenge is one big dramatic showdown. You walk into a room, whip out the evidence, shout, "Aha!" and the villain collapses in shame. Real revenge? It's slow. Precise. Surgical. And it starts with patience. Before I could ruin Ashley, I needed her to ruin herself. I needed her confession, clear, undeniable, spoken in her own voice with the kind of casual arrogance only a lifetime manipulator has. Texas is a one-party consent state. Meaning as long as I knew I was recording the conversation, it was perfectly legal. So I went shopping. One digital voice recorder disguised as a pen. 8-hour battery life. Crisp audio. Simple on-off switch. Liam helped me test it until we were sure it could pick up a mouse blinking from across the room. Then I made the call. I didn't use my number. I bought a cheap burner phone. Ashley answered on the second ring. I kept my voice flat. It's Walter. A sharp inhale, as if she couldn't believe she'd actually cornered me. So, she said, voice syrupy, does this mean you're ready to be reasonable? We need to talk. In person. Name the place. There was no hesitation. She really thought she had me by the throat. Los Hermanos? I said. Noon tomorrow. Come alone. She laughed, and said, I knew you'd come around. I hung up before my rage said something stupid. Next day, I got to the restaurant 30 minutes early. I picked a booth in the back corner, quiet enough for the recorder, crowded enough for her to feel comfortable. Set the pen down between us like it was nothing. Hit. Record. She walked in 5 minutes late wearing a cheap knockoff designer bag and desperation like perfume. She smiled like we were old friends. You look good. Austin must be treating you well. Sit. Her smile twitched, but she slid into the seat. So, she said, you have my money? Not yet, I said calmly. First, I need to understand how all this started. She didn't even blink. Didn't even hesitate. Because manipulators love talking about themselves. Well, she said, I told you I needed help. And since you kinda owe me. Owe you? I asked, deliberately confused. You know, for not running your life into the ground when we were teenagers. My fingers tightened under the table, but I kept my expression blank. Explain that, I said. She shrugged like she was recounting what she ordered at Starbucks. I could have done more back then. You know, gone to the police, told the school, ruined your chances of, whatever. College jobs. But I didn't. You're saying you lied? She smirked. It wasn't a lie. It was creatively avoiding consequences. My blood went white hot. And what consequences were those? She rolled her eyes. Oh, please. I got caught making out in a car at 15. My parents were going to kill me. Then I saw you walk past the window earlier that day and realized, perfect scapegoat. I swear the room tilted. And the messages? I asked. She leaned back, lowering her voice like it was gossip. There was this app. I don't remember the name now, but you could fake entire text threads. Took me like 2 hours to make them look real. Every word was being recorded. Every syllable. And you never felt guilty? I asked. She snorted. Maybe for 5 minutes. But look at you, you're fine. Successful. Those years of suffering probably made you stronger or whatever. You destroyed my life. She waved a hand dismissively. You got over it. I stared at her. Really stared at her. And what I saw wasn't guilt. It was entitlement. Delusion. A woman who'd never taken responsibility for anything, not even this. So, she said, leaning forward, about the money. Right. I said softly. 50,000, wasn't it? Correct. She smiled. And if you don't pay, I'll just have to tell Hazel and your business partners the truth. The truth, I repeated. You mean the lie you made up when you were 15? Her eyes narrowed. You sure you want to risk that? That was it. The exact moment I knew the confession was bulletproof. Irrefutable. Career ending. Life ending. I sat back and crossed my arms. Well, I said gently, this has been informative. She blinked. What does that mean? It means. I lifted the pen between 2 fingers. I've been recording this entire conversation. Her face drained of color so fast it was almost artistic. And before you say anything, I added, Texas is a one-party consent state. Completely legal. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tried again. Failed. I set the pen down and slid it toward her like a check at the end of a meal. You just confessed, I said quietly, to fabricating evidence, ruining my life, and attempting to extort $50,000. Her hands shook. Walter, wait, I didn't mean. Oh no, I said. You meant every word. Her breathing sped up. What are you going to do? And I gave her the kind of smile I'd been saving for 13 years. Exactly what you deserve. Ashley froze in that booth like a rabbit staring down highway traffic. For the first time in her entire manipulative little life, she understood what powerlessness felt like. And the irony? Beautiful. Delicious. Poetic. She'd spent 13 years weaponizing lies. Now I had the truth, digitally recorded, legally obtained, and ready to detonate. What do you want? She whispered. I leaned forward slowly, elbows on the table, voice level and calm. The kind of calm that makes people terrified. I'm giving you 2 options, I said. Both will ruin your reputation. One will ruin your freedom. Her throat bobbed. What does that mean? Option 1, I said, sliding her phone toward her. You write a full public confession. Right now. In this booth. On Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. You explain exactly what you did, how you faked screenshots, lied to our entire family, destroyed my life, and then tried to blackmail me for $50,000. She stared at her phone like it was a gun. I can't do that. She stammered. You can, I said, and you will. I'll lose everyone. She whispered. You already did, I said. You just don't know it yet. Her eyes filled with tears, finally real ones. Not the crocodile pools she'd used when she was 15. These were born from fear, not manipulation. And option 2? She asked, voice shaking. Oh, I said lightly. Option 2 is much worse. I took out the digital recorder and tapped it against the table. Forensic analysis from a tech expert proving the screenshots were fake. This recording of you admitting to everything. And documentation of your extortion attempt. I let the list sink in. Then, I continued, I walk all of it right to a lawyer. Civil suit. Criminal charges. CPS. Your employers. Your landlord. Every human being who has ever crossed your path. She let out a small, broken noise. You can't do that, she whispered. I have kids. You should have thought about your kids, I said, before you tried to destroy my life for the second time. Her face twisted. This will destroy me. I know. The silence stretched between us like a noose. Then her jaw trembled. Fine, she whispered. The confession. I'll write it. Good, I said, leaning back. And you'll post it before you leave this restaurant. Ashley opened her phone with shaking hands. She typed slowly at first, careful, vague, making excuses. Nope, I said, reading over her shoulder. Try again. And this time? Don't sugarcoat anything. I made her rewrite entire paragraphs. More details. More accountability. Less, I was scared, and more, I targeted an innocent person. She tried adding lines like, I was young, and I'm not that person anymore. I deleted them. You're not writing a redemption arc, I said. You're writing the truth. 20 minutes in, she tried one last pathetic pushback. Do I have to name you? Yes, I said. Full name. No euphemisms. No someone. You tell people exactly who you hurt. Her hand shook as she typed. I lied about Walter Torres. When she finished, she held out her phone like she was handing me a beating heart. Post it, I said. Walter, please. Post it. Her thumb hovered. A tiny, trembling gesture that determined the course of her entire future. Then she tapped. The confession went live. Facebook. Instagram. No going back. I immediately screenshotted everything. Timestamps, URLs, metadata, because I know her type. She tried to delete it the moment she felt safe. But she wasn't safe. Not anymore. No, I said. Send it to the family. She faltered. Everyone? Everyone. Her voice cracked. I don't want them to hate me. I tilted my head. They already do. She typed out a family group text, pasted the link, and hit send. Within seconds, the replies began pouring in. My uncle. How could you do this? My aunt. Please tell me this is a joke. My mother. Where is Walter? We need to talk to him. My father. This is unforgivable. Ashley's face crumpled like a paper cup. You ruined me, she whispered. No, I said quietly. You ruined me 13 years ago. Today, I just returned the favor. She stared at me with an expression I can only describe as shattered. Can I go now? She whispered. One last thing, I said. If you ever contact me again, ever, I filed charges. And I send this recording to every authority who will listen. I won't, she breathed. I swear. Good. Get out. She grabbed her bag and ran, out of the restaurant. I stayed sitting there, watching as her confession gathered comments by the dozens. Shock. Betrayal. Anger. Disgust. Names calling her a monster, a sociopath, a liar. Her entire social world collapsing in real time. I didn't smile. Not yet. But for the first time in 13 years, my chest felt lighter. Not whole. Not healed. But no longer suffocating. Little did I know, that was just the beginning. Ashley's world was about to fall apart far more violently than one confession could ever deliver. And I wasn't lifting a single finger to stop the avalanche. Ashley's confession spread through our hometown like gasoline meeting a match. By the time I got home from the restaurant, my phone was exploding with notifications, calls, texts, emails, from numbers I hadn't seen in 13 years. Everyone who once kicked me out of their lives suddenly remembered how to dial my number. I ignored every one of them. I wasn't interested in closure. I wasn't interested in their apologies. I wasn't interested in hearing people who abandoned me try to justify themselves. I'd given too many people too much power already. But I did watch the fallout. And oh, it was glorious. Ashley's Facebook post had over 600 comments in 2 hours. Most of them said some variation of, "You're disgusting. I defended you. I feel sick. How could you ruin his life like that? High school friends. Gone. Volleyball teammates? Blocking her left and right. Coworkers? Commenting publicly that they wanted nothing to do with her." She tried deleting comments at first. Then she tried replying with weak excuses like, I was young, and I didn't know the consequences. But the confession was clear. And so was her tone during our recorded conversation. Her story had no room for sympathy. The part that really kicked off the avalanche was when someone screenshotted her post and shared it in a community group with over 30,000 members. From there, it went everywhere. The next blow came fast. Her job fired her. Officially, the med spa said, violation of conduct policy. Unofficially, they didn't want to employ someone who fabricated assault allegations and then publicly admitted to blackmail. I had zero sympathy. Then came the eviction. Her landlord had already served her warnings for late rent. But now, with her confessions circulating online? With no job? With her name attached to a public scandal? He served her an eviction notice within 3 days. The sympathy she expected from friends never materialized. Even her own parents were drowning in shame. I'd heard through a relative that my aunt had a panic attack after reading the confession and realizing she'd thrown her nephew onto the street based on a lie her daughter fabricated without hesitation. Good. They should feel that pain. It was long overdue. My parents called me 8 times that week. My mom crying, begging me to forgive them. My dad leaving choppy, strained messages about how they failed me and how they'd make it right. I deleted every voicemail. They weren't apologizing because they loved me. They were apologizing because they got caught in their own gullibility. They didn't defend me when it mattered. They didn't protect me when a teenager needed protection. They didn't deserve a second chance. And then Hazel. 4 days after the confession went viral, she showed up at my garage while I was repairing a laptop. Soft knock. Hesitant. Like she wasn't sure she was allowed to be there. I didn't turn around. Walter, she said quietly. Hazel, I replied, keeping my voice flat. I'm sorry. Her voice wavered. I should have listened to you. I shouldn't have believed her. I stood and finally looked at her. She looked wrecked. Makeup smudged, eyes swollen from crying. Holding her phone like a security blanket. I believe you, she said. I believe everything now. That's nice, I said. A shame it's 4 days too late. She flinched like I'd slapped her. Can we talk? She asked. Please. We can fix this. I love you. No, I said. You loved the version of me that didn't have a past. The version you didn't have to trust. That's not true, she whispered. You believed fake screenshots over the man you lived with for 2 years. You threw the ring at me and walked away. Hazel, I can forgive mistakes. I can't forgive cowardice. She broke then. Tears spilled down her face. I made a mistake. A huge one. And I hate myself for it. Please don't throw us away. I didn't throw anything. I said. You did. When you walked out that night. I want to fix it. She whispered. No, I said. You want to erase it. There's a difference. She stood there another minute. Maybe 2. Then she realized I wasn't changing my mind. She reached into her pocket and set the engagement ring on the workbench again, gently this time, like it was a goodbye instead of a weapon. I'm sorry, she whispered. Then she left. I didn't stop her. She made her choice. Now she could live with it, just like I lived with the consequences of everyone else's choices for 13 years. But the most unexpected twist? Her leaving didn't break me this time. Because beneath the wreckage of my old life, something new was forming. A fire I hadn't felt in years. A sense of clarity. A realization. The old version of me was gone forever. I was done surviving. It was time to rebuild. Everything. And Ashley's meltdown wasn't finished, not even close. Because the next hit would come from CPS. And it would change her life permanently. Ashley thought the humiliation was the end of it. Losing her job. Getting evicted. Her entire social circle turning on her. She thought that was rock bottom. Oh no. Rock bottom was still several floors down. See, while she was busy spiraling online, posting vague quotes about betrayal and "no one knows my truth," I made one final call. An anonymous tip to CPS. Nothing dramatic. Nothing embellished. Just a simple summary, backed by screenshots. A mother who publicly admitted to fabricating assault allegations, manipulating family, committing blackmail, knowingly lying for personal gain, endangering minors by dragging them into her chaos. Currently unemployed. Facing eviction. With no stable income. Let me tell you something about CPS. They don't play around. They don't wait. They don't give benefit of the doubt to manipulative parents. They showed up at her parents' house where she was staying, less than a week after the confession. Her kids were temporarily placed with her parents. And Ashley? She was officially classified as unfit until further review. When that news hit the family group chat, panic erupted. My aunt tried texting me. "Walter, please. We know she did wrong, but this is too far." I replied with a single message. "You taught her that lying had no consequences. This is the bill." My uncle emailed me too. A long, emotional letter about how much Ashley was struggling and in need of support. He ended with, "If you could help financially, it would bring healing to this family." I laughed so hard I nearly pulled a muscle. These people, who threw me out at 17, believed lies instantly, cut me off without hesitation, and refused to even let me explain. Now wanted money? Family unity? Healing? Hard pass. Delete. Ashley's life kept unraveling. Every job interview she went to? Google showed them her confession. Every apartment she applied for? Too unstable, too much public drama. Every social connection she once had? Gone. Her reputation obliterated. Even the dads of her kids, the unreliable, inconsistent ones, used the confession to fight paying support. "She's a known liar," one allegedly told a judge. Ashley had built her entire identity on manipulation. And once that identity collapsed, she had nothing left to stand on. Meanwhile, I thrived. Business booming. Contracts expanding. Money flowing. The restoration side hustle? It exploded. I restored a '69 Chevelle SS, sold it for $68,000. Restored 11 more cars. Average profit? $35,000 each. By 31, my net worth hit $1. 1 million. Not inherited. Not gifted. Not born from privilege. Built. Piece by piece. Hour by hour. With scraped knuckles, sleepless nights, and pure refusal to quit. Everything I had I earned. Everything Ashley lost she caused. But the final twist? It came one random evening. I was in my garage polishing a Mustang grill when someone knocked. A man in his late 20s stood there, awkward, nervous, holding a baseball cap. "Are you Walter?" he asked. "Yeah." He held up a phone. On the screen was Ashley's confession. The viral one. I'm Caden's father," he said. "Her oldest." I blinked. That was new. "I just wanted to say thank you," he said quietly. "If you hadn't exposed her, I never would have gotten custody." "She was not a good mom." He swallowed. "You saved my kid. I know it was accidental, but thank you." He left. Simple as that. No drama. No theatrics. Just gratitude from someone else Ashley hurt. And it hit me. My revenge didn't just reclaim my life. It protected 2 children from growing up under the same manipulative shadow I lived under. Karma doesn't usually come on time. But when it arrives, it's thorough. And Ashley? Ashley still wasn't done falling. Because before all of this ended, she showed up. And that final encounter? Made everything worth it. 6 months after the confession, after her job vanished, her eviction finalized, her kids placed with her parents, and her entire social world turned to ash, Ashley did the one thing I truly didn't expect. She showed up. It was a rainy Wednesday afternoon. I was in my garage, elbow deep in the engine bay of a '67 Mustang, music playing low, the smell of oil and metal thick in the air. I didn't hear the knock at first, just saw movement in my peripheral vision through the open garage door. Ashley. She looked nothing like the polished golden child who once destroyed my life with a few taps on a fake text generator. Her hair was a mess, face pale, makeup smeared from rain or tears, maybe both. Clothes rumpled. Eyes hollow. She stepped into the garage like a stray dog, unsure if it was about to be fed or kicked. "Walter!" she croaked. I didn't stop working. Didn't flinch. Just kept my hands busy inside the engine. "You're not supposed to be here," I said. "I know," she whispered. "But I needed to talk to you." "No," I corrected. "You need something from me." "That's different." She flinched but didn't deny it. There was a long, shaky breath. "My parents won't help me anymore. They're angry. Everyone's angry. I can't get a job. I can't get an apartment. I can't." "Live with consequences?" I offered. "Yeah. That's how they work." She bit her lip hard enough to tremble. I didn't think it would get this bad. "You confessed publicly to framing me, then tried to blackmail me for $50,000. Consequences don't get more textbook than this." The rain outside pounded the pavement. Ashley wrapped her arms around herself like the cold was inside her bones. "I'm not here to ask for money," she said softly. I finally looked at her. Good. Because the answer would be no. She shook her head. I came to apologize. Not performative. Not fake tears. No audience. She was just broken. Completely and utterly broken. "I ruined your life," she whispered. "Twice. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I did any of it. I was scared at 15. And at 30 I was desperate. I didn't think you'd actually fight back." A humorless laugh slipped out of me. "That's the problem. You always counted on me not fighting back." Her eyes filled again. "I don't deserve forgiveness." "You don't." She nodded, swallowing hard. "I know." Another long silence. She finally held out a small folded note. Shaky handwriting on the outside. "For Walter." "What is it?" I asked. "My confession," she said. "The whole thing. Written out by hand. For you. Not online. Not for anyone else to see. Just what I should have said at 17. I didn't take it. Not immediately." She lowered her hand slightly. "I don't expect you to forgive me." "I know you won't. I needed to tell you that I'm sorry. For what little it's worth now." For a second, just 1 second, I saw the scared kid she used to be. The one who made a monstrous mistake because she didn't know any better. The one who was never held accountable until her entire adult life collapsed under the weight of her own selfishness. She wiped her nose with her sleeve. "Anyway, I'll go now." She placed the note gently on a nearby toolbox. Then she turned and walked out of my garage and into the rain. I didn't call after her. Didn't comfort her. Didn't tell her it was okay. Because it wasn't. But after she disappeared around the corner, I set my wrench down, walked over, and picked up the note. Inside was 4 pages. 4 painfully honest pages. She detailed everything, from the fake screenshots, to how she manipulated the family, to how she watched me leave that night at 17 and felt nothing but relief. She wrote about the guilt growing over the years. The lies piling up. The jealousy of seeing my success from afar. The fear. The desperation. The stupid, cruel decision to reach out again. And at the bottom, in shaky handwriting, "You didn't ruin my life, Walter. I did. I hope someday your life feels lighter." I stood there for a long time. Not forgiving her. Not forgetting. But letting the weight shift, just a little. Life after the fallout. Ashley eventually moved 3 towns over. Got a part-time job. Slowly rebuilt, but never fully recovered socially. People don't forget confessions like hers. Her kids? They're being raised primarily by her parents now. 2 genuinely sweet kids who didn't deserve any of the chaos they were born into. I send Christmas gifts anonymously. They never know it's me, and that's fine. As for my parents, they tried for a year, calls, letters, apologies, guilt. But I let the past stay in the past. They made their choices. I made mine. We don't speak. Hazel? She married an accountant from Dallas. Good for her. Me? I expanded from car restorations to custom builds. Opened a second garage. Then a third. I'm not just comfortable, I'm thriving. And for the first time since I was 17, I sleep without feeling like someone is lurking behind me with a lie. Because the truth is no longer chasing me. I'm chasing it. And I finally caught it. The quietest revenge is not destruction. It's peace. And I built mine myself.